Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Mr. Balmer's YouTube videos. And today, of the 25th May 2020, I present you something very special. It's a first again, and I'm on the official website of SpaceX, as you can see, with a rocket directly in front of the screen. This is a Falcon 9 rocket here with the Dragon capsule on top of it, which will launch on May 27th. That's a Wednesday, so 1-2 days, and then it will launch. So let's go through it. Upcoming launch Crew Demo 2. Because it's crewed, 2 NASA astronauts will fly aboard that Falcon 9 rocket. So this is returning human spaceflight to the United States, to American soil. The interesting thing is, let me read it, because 2 astronauts from NASA will fly on a SpaceX rocket to the International Space Station, for short, ISS. SpaceX is targeting Wednesday, May 27th for Falcon 9's launch of Crew Dragon's second demonstration, Demo 2, mission from Launch Complex 39A, LC-39A, at NASA's Kennedy Space Center in Florida. This test flight with NASA astronauts Bob Behnken and Doug Hurley on board the Dragon spacecraft will return human spaceflight to the United States. These are the 2 pilots, the 2 NASA astronauts, which were chosen to fly for the first time again since 2011, again from American soil, American land, to the International Space Station. Again. The instantaneous launch window opens at 4:33 p.m. EDT or 8:33 UTC, with backup instantaneous launch opportunities available on Saturday, May 30th at 3:22 p.m. EDT or 7:22 UTC, and on Sunday, May 31st at 3 p.m. EDT or 7 UTC. Tune in here to watch the launch webcast, because it will be broadcasted live from YouTube website, from SpaceX, or actually SpaceX's YouTube channel, and of course also from NASA TV on YouTube and on the NASA website. Coverage will begin about 4 hours before liftoff, so you have enough time to tune in to see what's going on. Demo 2 is the final major test for SpaceX's human spaceflight system to be certified by NASA for operational crew missions to and from the International Space Station. SpaceX is returning human spaceflights to the United States with one of the safest, most advanced systems ever built. And NASA's Commercial Crew Program is a turning point for America's future in space exploration that lays the groundwork for future missions to the Moon, Mars, and beyond. Sounds interesting. Because we we actually NASA and SpaceX will fly to the moon with the Artemis program. You can look up on it. I will post the links in the description below, and you can see it's the Artemis program which will return humans, a man and a woman, as it was standing there, to the moon by 2024. And then further on, after building a moon base for people to stay over a longer period of time, next step would be flying to Mars, human missions to Mars, and that will also come up in the next coming years. And of course, this will not be the end of our journey or the journey of humans. It will go beyond. Let's see. So the countdown for the launch on the 27th of May 2020, that's a Wednesday, will be as follow. 45 minutes before liftoff, that means T minus 45 minutes. SpaceX launch director verifies go for propellant load, so the rocket will be loaded with propellant. Then T minus 42 minutes, crew access arm retracts, so the rocket will be standing there like on its own. T minus 37 minutes before liftoff. Dragon's launch escape system is armed. That means if something goes wrong, which we do not hope so, and should never go wrong, if I especially call the word if, then there is an escape system in place for the Dragon to actually pull the Dragon away from the danger zone to safety with the NASA astronauts, as mentioned above. To safety as early as something would or when something would go wrong, that they can be pulled to safety or brought to safety. That's absolutely crucial that such a system, an escape system, is in place, so it will be armed. T minus 35 minutes before liftoff. PR1, rocket grade kerosene loading begins. So the kerosene will be loaded into the rocket. Again, at the same time, T minus 35 minutes before liftoff. First stage, LOX, liquid oxygen loading begins. At the same time, where kerosene is loaded, or the beginning of the kerosene loading process, the liquid oxygen will be loaded as well, loaded to the rocket as well. T minus 16 minutes before liftoff. Second stage, LOX loading begins. So there's a second stage of loading which will begin. So the rocket will be loaded almost or actually a few minutes before liftoff. Then T minus 7 minutes before liftoff. Falcon 9 begins engine chill prior to launch. So everything is getting ready for liftoff. Then T minus 5 minutes before liftoff. Dragon transitions to internal power. That means get ready for internal power, that the automatic system, the flight control or the board computer, everything can be go to automatic. Actually it will be at least, or actually short before, better to say short before the liftoff, that the board computer will take on. T minus 1 minute before takeoff. Command flight to begin final pre-launch checks. The last checks will be made in that time, and at the same time, T minus 1 minute before liftoff, propellant tank pressurization to flight pressure begins. That means that every pressure, that everything is getting ready for liftoff. T minus 45 seconds. SpaceX launch director verifies go for launch. If everything looks well, this launch director will verify for go for launch or go for launch. Then T minus 3 seconds before liftoff, engine controller commands engine ignition sequence to start. So the rocket's getting ready, the controller and everything is ready to go, and then of course 0, that means Falcon 9 liftoff. It's a pretty interesting countdown, if you will, and there is much more behind, but these are the sequences you can follow, and you will hear, it will be broadcasted, everything you will see with all the data, and that's what I actually truly really like. SpaceX is showing all the data, and usually a very good coverage of what's going on, that you can follow the whole process, that you can follow the mission and know at almost any time during the process, during the mission, what's going on. So this is probably one of the best coverage you can get in a live stream in general about a rocket start and its whole mission. And this is really nice because you can see it in a good quality, and yeah, then you can see what's going on, and it's really nice to see that it works, and usually it works actually it works quite fine, and that should be an established system. So let's hope that everything is going smoothly. So let's go through the graph here. The launch from the launch pad in Florida, or is it, I think it's Kennedy in Florida, right? NASA's Kennedy Space Center in Florida, right? And you see the pad and everything, so it's like transparent, you know exactly what's going on. Okay, the launch, then the ascent, going up faster and faster, the separation, flip maneuver, so the booster will turn and come back and then land. So let's follow the booster. The booster it's going down, grid fin deploy, that are the little fins for the precise steering. Then entry burn, the burn begins to slow the booster down. Aerodynamic guidance, that means it will align to go to the right place for the landing. Then the vertical landing, that means it's landing vertically. Of course, I still love you, drone ship. And of course, I still love your drone ship, because the drone ship will be out in the Atlantic and the booster should land right on it. And then we follow the Dragon capsule with the two NASA astronauts in it. Dragon separation. The Dragon will separate from the final stage, and the Dragon process to ISS will begin. It's going up and up and up, and then will dock, as I heard, about 19 hours after takeoff, or 19 hours later it will dock to the International Space Station. That time can be shortened down to quite some less hours, like 6, or even longer than 19, but it's now 19, and in the future they will manage it to just a very short amount of time from the start till to the docking process to dock on the International Space Station. So the launch, landing and Dragon deployment. These are the events from the time. All times are approximate, and you will see what's going on with the stages, stack. So after 58 seconds after lift, after 58 seconds after the launch, maximum Q, that means moment of peak mechanical stress on the rocket. This is maximum pressure on the rocket occurs under a minute, about. It's approximate, as you can see here, approximate. All times are approximate. So then 2 minutes and 33 seconds into the flight, first stage, main engine cutoff. It's called MECO. That means the main engine will be shut down. 2 minutes and 36 seconds into the flight, the first and second stages separate, so they will separate, and 2 minutes and 44 seconds into the flight, the second stage engine starts. It will start and will bring the Dragon capsule even higher on the way to the International Space Station. Then we have 7 minutes and 15 seconds into the flight, first stage entry burn. So that means entry burn will start here for slowing the booster down. Then we have 8 minutes and 47 seconds into the flight with the second stage engine cutoff, SIG 1. That means it will be shut down, cut off. Then we have 8 minutes and 52 seconds into the flight, the first stage landing burn. That means the landing burn right here before the booster touches down. And of course I still love your drone ship because it's autonomous. It's sitting there in the Atlantic Ocean waiting for the booster to land on it. And then we have 9 minutes and 22 seconds. It's under 10 minutes after liftoff. 9 minutes and 22 seconds into the flight, the first stage landing. That means the booster will touch down on the drone ship. Of course I still love you. Of course I still love you, drone ship. That's a name, huh? Isn't it? You Then we have 12 minutes into the flight. The Dragon separates from second stage. That means right here, Dragon separation. And we have 12 minutes and 46 seconds. Dragon nose cone open sequence begins. Yeah, and then it's going up to the International Space Station. This is like the process after the start. What will happen after there? What will happen after the start from here? Like this and this. Alright, so then we go to an Earth view here in a 2D scheme. This is like start 1. Then we have 2. And we have 3 thruster burn, and then we have thruster burn again, international attack and docking, keep out sphere. Then we come in with the 4 final elliptic to 5, and then automatic sequence for 6, the docking process to the International Space Station. Here we go. As you can see, the liftoff. Falcon 9's first stage lofts Dragon to orbit. Falcon 9's first and second stage separate. Second stage accelerates Dragon in orbital velocity to orbital velocity. Then we have the second step, orbit activation. Dragon separates from Falcon 9's second stage and performs initial orbit activation and checkouts of propulsion, life support and thermal control system. Yeah, it's all vital because we have 2 NASA astronauts on board of Dragon capsule from Falcon from SpaceX. Then we have the third stage, phasing begins. Dragon performs delta velocity orbit, rising maneuvers to catch up with the International Space Station. Yes. Then we have 4th approach initiation. Dragon establishes a communication link with the space station and performs its final orbit, rising delta velocity burn. Delta velocity burn, yeah, so to dock. And as you can see, it's blinking here. So this is here, then it's here, then it's here, then approaching, it's here. Then we have the 5th point coming into proximity operation. Dragon establishes relative navigation to the space station and arrives along the docking axis, initiating an autonomous approach. Ding, and autonomous. Good. And the 6th is the docking itself, docking and pressurization. Dragon performs final approach and docks with the space station, followed by pressurization, hatch open, and crew ingress. Good, then we are here. So the docking is once in orbit, the crew and SpaceX mission control will verify the spacecraft is performing as intended by testing the environmental control and life support systems, the maneuvering thrusters, the terminal control systems, among other things. Crew Dragon will perform a series of phasing maneuvers to position itself for rendezvous and docking with the International Space Station. The spacecraft is designed to do this autonomously. But astronauts on board the spacecraft and the space station will be delightfully monitoring approach and docking and can take control of the spacecraft if necessary. But I think the automatically or autonomously or autonomous approach from the Crew Dragon to the International Space Station should actually go very fluently. Then keep outs fair. Here we go. The departure is as following. Depart, get out of the proximity, and then going back again. DAC, thruster burn, going lower, thruster burn, and then fifth DAC and going down. So the departure and up to the landing process will be as follow. First, departure from the ISS, from the International Space Station. The Crew Dragon autonomously undocks from the space station and performs a departure burn to move away from the orbiting laboratory. Because the International Space Station is, as it says, international, worldwide. The International Space Station, an orbiting laboratory to test new things and advance how humans live in space in the future for further on missions to the moon and Mars. Let's go to phase 2. Phasing burns. Dragon performs a series of orbit lowering maneuvers that line up its ground track with the desired landing location. Of course, because we want to go back safely. Yes, then we go to position 3. So that was 1, then we had 1, then 2, we had 2 again, and now we go to 3. 3 is trunk jettison. Prior to Dragon's deorbit burn, the flight computer jettisons the trunk in order to reduce mass and save propellant. So it will be go like this will be go away, so the capsule will be on its own. Then we have the phase 4, which is here, the orbit burn. Dragon conducts its deorbit burn, which lasts 12 minutes to go lower and for the landing. So then we go to phase 5. 5 is here. Re-entry. Dragon experiences significant heating and drag as it re-enters Earth's atmosphere, which slows the velocity to the point of safe parachute deploy. So it needs to lower the speed of the Dragon capsule significantly, and the heat shield will absorb the heat and will slow it down in speed. Then we have 6. 6 is the parachutes deploy. Dragon's 2 drogue parachutes deploy at 18,000 feet, followed by 4 main parachutes that deploy at 6,500 feet. That means it's slowing down even further. Prepare for landing. This is very important to slow it down safely. Then we go to 7. 7 is the time of landing, or the so-called splashdown, because it will be splashed down in the ocean, and that will be, as it looks like, the Atlantic. So under 4 main parachutes, Dragon safely touches down at the velocity of 25 feet per second and autonomously releases its parachutes. Why? Of course it needs to release it because it shouldn't be dragged away by it. That the astronauts, the NASA astronauts, which will then return, I think some will return that they are safe again also. So the return is like open conclusion of the mission. Crew Dragon will autonomously undock with the 2 astronauts on board the spacecraft and depart the space station. After jettisoning the trunk and conducting its deorbiting burn, which lasts approximately 12 minutes, Dragon will re-enter Earth's atmosphere. Upon splashdown, just off Florida's Atlantic coast, Dragon and the astronauts will be quickly recovered by SpaceX's Go Navigator recovery vessel and returned to Cape Canaveral. And that's what it should be. Everything should go smoothly. So 2 astronauts will go up and 2 astronauts will come down. And yeah, this is the previous mission, which was before. It was the previous launch, Demo 1 mission. It was uncrewed, it was a dummy. I think it was Ripley. The dummy was called, like in the Alien movie. And yeah, let's watch it.
Ice launch trajectory and countdown net. Pad is clear. Go for launch.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ignition. Liftoff.
Vehicle is supersonic.
Stage separation confirmed.
MVAC ignition.
Landing legs have deployed, and Falcon 9 has landed. Dragon, separation confirmed.
Houston Station, space to ground to ISS thrusters enabled.
Houston Station, Dragon hatch opened at 13:07.
On behalf of Ripley, Little Earth, myself and our crew, welcome to the Crew Dragon.
Houston Station on suit, ISS crew is ready for departure. Separation visually confirmed. We have visual on drugs. We have 4 healthy sheep.
Recover this is DRC. Dragon has landed.
And this is how they're going to do it. In preparation for Demo 2, SpaceX has completed a number of major milestones for NASA's Commercial Crew Program. In March 2019, SpaceX completed Crew Dragon's first demonstration mission to and from the International Space Station, an end-to-end test flight for Crew Dragon without NASA astronauts on board, making Dragon the first American spacecraft to automatically dock with the International Space Station and safely return to Earth. This was a milestone in 2019, and now we are going, or actually NASA and SpaceX are going for the first time after 9 years again from American soil to the International Space Station crewed mission. This is how it looks like when it goes up, but this would be the actually this is the launch escape demonstration, and that were the thruster firing from going away from the rocket previous launch. And yeah, let's listen to this one also. Here we go. Have a look. That's how they tested it.
Falcon 9 is in startup.
Dragon is in countdown.
FTS is...
Okay, let's roll it again. Please enjoy.
Falcon 9 is in startup.
Dragon is in countdown.
FTS is armed. Go for launch.
3, 2, 1, 0. Ignition. Liftoff. Semper Fi, aim high. Go Falcon, go Dragon.
Vehicle is pitching downrange.
Stage 1 propulsion's nominal.
Falcon power and telemetry nominal.
Eagle, Dragon launch escape initiated.
Trickle firings are looking good.
Stage 1 throttle down. I see 10 meters per second horizontal.
Good main chutes released.
Velocity decreasing.
And this is how it looked when they escape were done. So okay, let's go. Let's read that also here. In January, SpaceX successfully completed an in-flight test of Crew Dragon's launch escape capabilities. This test, which did not have NASA astronauts on board the spacecraft, demonstrated Crew Dragon's ability to reliably carry crew to safety in the unlikely event of an emergency on ascent. Dragon safety splashed down in the Atlantic Ocean, and teams successfully recovered the spacecraft onto spacecraft's recovery vessel. Yeah, so everything is smooth, and these are the two astronauts which were chosen to go. The two NASA astronauts, and of course they are Americans. Yeah, awesome, isn't it? Yeah, so and they look quite futuristic in this new spacesuits they wear. That's nice. It's nice. They were tested, and yeah, it looks like almost like Star Citizen. you know, and yeah, this is what they're going to do on Wednesday, the 27th of May 2020. So this was just quite a short update or introduction of the next space flight and the first manned space flight with SpaceX Falcon 9 and Dragon capsule. And this actually concludes the no, this is yeah, let's hope that everything is going well, smoothly, and you can see this live. I will post the links in the description below where you can see the live. Please have a look for yourself, because this is, you can witness something special here. And yeah, tune in, see it live for yourself, that you know how it works. It will be very likely an amazing journey, and tune in. And as always, peace in. Thank you very much for listening. If you like, you can subscribe to my channel, like if you like, and share if you can. Share it to all your friends, to the ones you know. It would be, and it's much appreciated. Thank you very much again, and see you soon again. Peace in.